In Marion Miner's opening remarks this morning, she talked about a number of major initiatives that Connectiv will be announcing and launching over the next couple of weeks. And one of them is the launch of Connectiv University. Probably over the last 18 months, the staff and the board have been examining and developing Connectiv University, which essentially will be a learning management system and platform looking at education and training in the key areas of your businesses as you look to transform and expand your business models and business opportunities. Also, last spring, we commissioned a study, a membership study. Some of you hopefully participated in it, where we asked what were the pain points in your organizations, what, as your association, we can be more helpful from a learning and education standpoint. And very clearly, the idea of sales training was your number one request and your number one priority. So as we began really the fine-tuning of Connectiv University, we made sure that the first set of curriculum would look at digital integrated sales training. So we've been working with our different committees, particularly our Chief Revenue Committee, and are very pleased that with the launch of Connectiv University, that our partner in the digital integrated sales training area will be Steve Bookbinder and his firm DMT Training, Digital Media Training. Steve is the CEO and founder of DMT Training, and we had the opportunity in March to essentially preview or beta the concepts and the philosophy and the components of this particular first set of learnings with American Lawyer Media, ALM's sales team, about 80 of their national sales leaders at their sales meeting. And the feedback and the response that we've received from the ALM team was phenomenal, and we're really excited taking and leveraging the excitement that we received from the ALM introduction as we launch Connectiv University. It goes live late June. And we're very fortunate that Steve Bookbinder has agreed to, he flew in from Montana where he was working on another training session to just give us a quick overview, a quick sense of what we're looking to share and deliver to you with Connectiv University. So I'm delighted to welcome Steve.
Hi, everybody. I flew in from Montana, so if I got up at like 4 o'clock this morning, so if I fall asleep in front of you, please pardon me. It's a great honor, a privilege, pleasure to be here. So as you heard, I'm the head of a training company. We work with two kinds of clients. We have media clients, and in that space I work with companies in every part of the space, from broadcast, print, B2B, B2C, B2P, which is business to professional. I also work with non-media clients. So some of my clients would include companies like Moody's and Thomson Reuters and Cigna, and maybe some of these B2B clients are also clients of yours. And so it gives me a chance to work with companies all over, and salespeople all over the place. In my career, I've worked with more than 50,000 salespeople. Just this year, I've conducted training in Asia, Europe, Latin America. So it puts me right on the front lines, seeing what today's salespeople are all about. And so I've got some good news and some bad news for you. So let me start with the good news. When you work with companies like Moody's and you get to see people that work there and they're trained and they're dedicated and they love it and they're really good at what they do, and you get a chance to compare what they do compared to people, media salespeople. Here's the good news. There are no better salespeople than media salespeople. And you have to be great, because if you sell Moody's, if you deliver the service, you're just delivering a Moody's Analytics or Moody's ratings. But when you're selling advertising, it requires a whole different level of skill, because you're not selling ads so much as you're selling success. You're going in there trying to sell success, and then you're delivering spots and dots. So it's a little bit of a challenge. So that's the good news of it. But here's the bad news. A couple pieces of bad news. One piece of bad news, you probably already noticed this one. The world has changed. Have you noticed that the world has changed? Like, here's a huge way that the world has changed. The expression "in the old days." In the old days, like 20 years ago, when you used the expression "in the old days," you meant a period 20 years earlier than that. But in 2017, when you use the expression in the old days, you're talking about a month ago. So that's kind of how I look at it. And so what I see is that salespeople in media not only are good, but they've always been good. And I meet a lot of people who've been great, doing it their great way, and doing it that way for many, many, many years. And most of those years, they experienced a lot of success. 20 years ago, super successful doing it their way. 10 years, maybe 5 years ago. But about sometime recently, a long time ago, a month ago, we all started adding digital products. And so all of a sudden, we have a bad news. Here's the bad news. You're going into the marketplace with all of these products you used to not have. Native, mobile, social, and programmatic, and all the other things that you might have. Well, here's the problem. Nobody's buying that. Now, I know that sounds odd. How could I say that nobody's buying that? Well, here's what I mean by that. If I go to meet with somebody and I do the classic thing I've been classically trained to do, probe to find the needs, and then go, well, based on your needs, it sounds like you need mobile, social, native, or etc. Nobody needs that. And that's the problem, because they don't see it that way. And part of the reason that I'm saying this is that your advertiser's business has changed. How many of you, your advertiser is selling B2B? Business to business. Yeah. How about, right? So let's just look at that for a second. The business customer has become like the consumer customer. 50 to 75% of what a salesperson used to deliver was part of the information they delivered. The customer already learned that before the salesperson met with them. And so when we're in there going, do you need a 250 by 300? Do you need native? Do you need programmatic? I've got this great audience. I reach exactly the right person you're trying to reach. That is falling on deaf ears. And so we've got to change the way we think about things. And so that's kind of the bad news. Well, here's the good news. I work with all these companies all over the world, and I help them get better at selling. I am working with you. I'm not only working with you, I'm a member of Connectiv. So we're all family here, and I'm the sales coach. And working with Michael and the rest of the team, we've put together the beginnings of Connectiv University that are going to take people who were selling the way that worked so well before, and we're going to change the way they do it. Let me give you some more detail about this. Okay. The 4 things that salespeople need to know have completely changed, and we have to communicate those things differently. Like, who is your audience? Who do you reach? You're being able to describe your audience in the way you used to do a long time ago, that worked so well a long time ago, doesn't really work that well, because everybody can reach the same audience that you reach, no matter how big your audience is, no matter how targeted your audience, no matter how perfect the audience is. What do you sell? What do you really sell? The notion of what you really sell. Here's what we really need to sell now. We need to sell what the advertisers need, and they are working in a world where their customer has already gone online and learned 50 to 75% of what the salesperson wanted to tell them. And so if we're selling banners, or we're selling programmatic, or we're selling targeting, or we're selling native, sounds nice internally, but that's not what the advertiser wants. Here's what they want: leads, sales. They want to optimize. They want to get more people for less money. They want to reduce the cost of conversions. They want to scale that audience. So native doesn't sound like that. If I had a bucket of leads and a bucket of sales, it sounds more like it. Finding out what the advertiser's trying to do, this notion of probing to find the needs. How do you even find out what they're trying to do? How do you match that up? And finally, how do you position your product right? And so let me show you what we've done. We've put together these 10 foundation courses, and we're working to make sure that salespeople understand what they need to know. Now, we just had a Mashable, the Chief Strategy Officer for Mashable. Are your salespeople going to be as smart as that guy? No. Do they need to be as smart as him? No. I've been in digital a really long time. Am I as smart as him? No. But I don't need to be. I don't execute campaigns. I'm not hands-on on technology. But here's what I can do, and here's what your salespeople need to be able to do. They need to understand what digital is, how to describe it in a sales meeting persuasively, and how to close business, and how to sell the way we sell in 2017, which is a totally different way. So I want to just walk you through some of the things that we've done to prepare you for that. And it's just to see there, the types of content. There's all kinds of content and campaign types. Salespeople need to hear that. Now, we could have come in with a full day seminar. We could have come in with a video of a full day, but here's the problem. Salespeople, here's one thing that hasn't changed about salespeople, no attention span. Salespeople, that's the knock on salespeople, right? They have no attention span. They're like, ADD, and that's considered a knock. I'm a salesperson. I don't think of it as a knock. I do agree we have ADD, but I don't think it's a knock. I think we've got to juggle 800 balls in the air at once. ADD is actually the perfect skill for that. And so with regard to teaching people, what do we need to do? We need to deliver our message in a way that a person with a very short attention span, who's not going to pay any attention to training until the moment they need it, in a form they can have it. So I've recently recorded these videos, and we're busy producing them now. But they're 5-minute videos. We take each of these subjects and we've boiled it down to what does a salesperson need to know? They need to have the language. They can't be in a room and somebody talks about data and they don't know what you're talking about. Or somebody talks about conversions or scale or any of the digital concepts. So we need to, I've boiled it down, given them the words they need to have. We've created a platform that they could find that and get updated as things get updated. The continuous consideration, this notion of, the whole of digital is all about finding the right person with the right message at the right time at the right ROI. Explaining the right ROI requires a little bit of math, and you've got to be able to do that while looking eyeball to eyeball with the customer in a way that's more compelling than the other 100 salespeople calling that same advertiser who are also making the claim that they reached the right person at the right time in the right place at the right ROI. So it's not about being able to do this pitch, it's being able to do it in a competitive world. Selling is a competitive sport. I don't have to be great at presenting, but I have to be better than the 10 other people that are presenting to that same advertiser. Media math. Media math is critical to this because they can't just say we're very efficient without coming in with some way of doing it. And here's the key to media math. If you work for an organization, or your organization sells very low-priced inventory, it's a very different argument. But the problem is you walk in and go, my inventory is great, super great, it's great, oh my God, it's great. How much is it? Is it cheap? No, not cheap, it's this expensive. And so the advertiser's being inundated with messages saying, yeah, I could get better targeting and only pay that much money. So media math is my ability to hear their goal, hear what they're doing, and show them that despite my higher cost inventory, it actually backs into an ROI positive experience. Yeah, it costs more to reach people, but my audience engages, my audience converts better, and the math behind that proves that out, so I need to know that. Thinking like a digital marketer. To me, this is maybe a key strategy and a key mindset of a salesperson. We're not hawking advertising inventory. We are thinking like the marketer. What's the marketer trying to do? And the more we think like that, the more it's going to make sense. Native advertising. I asked somebody recently what native advertising was. What's native advertising? And just to make sure that they proved to me that they knew what it was, they said, it's kind of like an advertorial. It's kind of like an advertorial. I guess you could sort of make an argument it's kind of like an advertorial, except here's the problem. The reason that you have native content is so you could sell $50,000 to $350,000 packages. It's like an advertorial, that's going to get you like $10. So we've got to find a more compelling way to say that. Video and mobile. You know what's interesting about the world? The smaller the screen, the more people like to watch video, and the smaller the screen, the longer the video, the more of the ad the user will watch. The video completion rates are greater in long-form video on a small screen. Well, how do you communicate that concept properly? So we're going to prepare your salespeople for that. We just heard a whole thing about data. I've reduced the whole data subject down to 5 minutes. What does the salesperson need to know? So we're going to teach them the words, the concepts, but we're also going to teach them how to sell it. So as you see in numbers 8, 9, and 10, all about how to present properly and present in a competitive world where other really smart people are coming in and they're presenting in a very compelling way their service. I'm rooting for you. I'm on your side. So I want you to win those competitions. So that's why we prepared the training the way we did. Turning around objections. You know, a lot of sales, the one skill that people don't appreciate about selling is selling has to look like you're just making it up as you go along. But in fact, the single most important skill a salesperson needs to focus on is the words that come out of their mouth in a meeting. I've literally worked with 50,000 salespeople. I've literally asked this question a bunch of times. How many of you have ever had the experience where you went into a meeting, thought you were ready, and then you left the meeting, and now you're driving away, and only about 10 minutes later you go, you know what I should have said? You know what I should have said? That's great that you realize what you should have said, except in today's world, if the right words don't come out of your mouth in that moment when you're with that advertiser, you might not be back for 2 years. So we got to know when we walk in every possible question, every objection, and have the right turnaround, get the right words to come out of our mouth. And, you know, this notion of consultative selling. I think consultative selling is right, and how could you say otherwise? I often talk to customers who say to me, you know, I want my people to learn consultative selling, and I'm trying to figure out what would the other style of selling be. There is no other style of selling. Every selling is consultative selling. However, it's a competitive world. It's not just that I did consultative selling, so therefore I should win the sale. No, my 9 competitors are also studying consultative selling. So what question do I need to ask in a meeting that used to go 2 hours and now goes 15 minutes? What's that right opening question? How do I hear it? How do I position my product? How do I create the conversation so I could sell the value of my product in a world that everybody else can reach more people for less money with greater targeting and has everything I have, or they have something I don't have? So we need to do that. So what we've done is we put all this together, and what I'm doing for you is not only making the videos available, but I am your coach. So our plan is to work with each of you, and so we could prepare our salespeople properly, use these videos not just for one-on-one training individually, reinforcement, but we've created a way for the managers who work in your organizations to help reinforce this message. Because you know what's because while we're having a great time at this meeting, we have to assume that one of 2 scenarios is happening. All of your competitors are in a similar hotel having the same conversation about how they're going to top you. So what's the answer? We've either got to outperform them, outpractice them because they're trying to beat you, or we're lucky and they're taking this day off and they're not focusing on how to improve their skills. Well, if they're not working on how to improve their skills, then we have to improve our skills. If they are working on how to improve their skills, then we really have to improve their skills. This Connectiv University will absolutely help salespeople improve their skills. They'll make more money. They'll be more satisfied. They'll be less frustrated. They'll stay with you longer, and we will all be more successful. And I'm going to be on that journey with you, and I'm really looking forward to working with all of you on that. I appreciate the opportunity. Take care, everybody.
So I think you know why we're excited about Connectiv University. I think we've got a great partner. The enthusiasm and the knowledge that you got a short glimpse of today will be part and parcel of all of the elements of Connectiv University. So thank you, Steve, and we look forward to really, in a major way, answering those questions and those challenges that you gave us in our member survey last year, and really providing you with the value that you're expecting. So with that, we're going to take a break until 3:30 and look forward to resuming the rest of the program with you. Thank you.